me, Catherine.
Good morning, Alpa. How are you doing?
Amazing. I'm doing really, really well in spite of everything that's going on in our world that's full of things, all things bonkers. 4 masks now and anal swabs.
Oh, the anal swabs thing. I mean, the thing is, we joked about it for so long, didn't we? And now it's actually coming into fruition. And yeah, it's just unbelievable.
It's funny. I think, having a sense of humor in these times is what's got me going and kept me going, shall I say. And knowing where to direct my energy and how to direct my energy and how to conserve my energy. And one of the things that I've really learned in the aftermath of the inauguration and these last 10 months is we're constantly evolving ourselves spiritually and internally. Every day is a new opportunity to learn something new, and life is progressive growth. And we're learning how to discern, decipher, and where we keep and draw our attention to. And I'm finding on this journey a lot of things that are, let me say, called petty, really silly and petty, and not necessary and conducive for the grander plan at hand, if that makes sense. So we were talking about it earlier on, about this character assassination of people in the truther community.
Yeah.
And I hear it all. I have eyes and I have ears and I can see and hear everything all. And I ask myself 2 questions. First of all, intention and perception. What is my intention in this movement? And how am I perceiving things? Yeah. So I know in my heart as a normie, someone who just woke up to the atrocities at grassroots level of what's going on with, crimes against humanity. I very much quickly woke up very quickly to realize, oh my God, I get it. Trusting my intuitive compass, because I'd been on a spiritual journey for about 10 years anyway, learning the things that I know now through the trials and tribulations of life. And very much quickly, when I started opening my eyes up to all of this stuff, suddenly there's people in the truther movement, talking about all of these things. And we are where we are today because we've listened to some of these people, and we can take the good. If we don't agree with them, we have a choice, don't we? Yeah,
Absolutely.
We have a choice to listen to them. And what I'm finding at the moment is that it's not that I'm not hearing things about people or the negative stuff. And I say, where is that getting anyone to character and assassinate someone publicly? What does that say about you and your sort of decorum inside? To be that spiteful and that ugly about someone. We have been governed by these constructs of the cabal for years. Yeah, surely these bad trolling habits shouldn't be employed. Constructive criticism is great, but I'm finding that we are going to low vibrational states of just being nasty about people. And when I say we, I don't mean ourselves, but I'm just noticing within these forums. And of course this happens. It's been human nature. And I know it's not going to be an overnight fix, Catherine, and that people need to really go within. When we say go within, these are the things we need to also look at, because ultimately, away from all this Maya meaning illusion. Yeah. It's just this that is our inner truth. And by lowering our vibration to say X person in the truther community is really bad, X person's really bad, what is that achieving? I don't know. Maybe I'm being a bit naive and gullible, but I mind my own business about those things. Yeah, fair enough. You read certain things and you think, oh, that's not very great, and it can sort of set you back. But then you go within and see, what is your intuitive compass saying to you? And then you have a choice. You have a choice whether you, after you've assessed yourself internally, what you feel about that situation. Yeah. And you sort of have done your discernment, your research, whatever. If it's telling you, oh, I don't like that energy, move away from it. But I just don't think it's appropriate at the moment to badmouth people in such a way that is cheap.
Yeah, I mean, I think, I would say a few things to that. I would say, one, this is the culture we've had for ages, is we like to put people up on pedestals only to knock them down. And unfortunately, that's a really nasty human character trait. You'd never see anything from the animal kingdom behaving in that way. And what we're trying to do with what we're trying to do in terms of spreading different information so that people can have informed choice is break some of these negative behavior patterns. And whereas I agree, sometimes, you know, research is research, and all of us in the truth community, I actually don't even like the word truth, because truth is completely subjective. But you know, in terms of the research community, I would say, you know, the people. So I've got nothing against people doing research on everything, which will include individuals, because in one respect, people in the research community, as we'll now call it, are absolutely character assassinating people like Bill Gates and a lot of the politicians, but it's in a very different way.
Absolutely.
And I think, again, I think it's a good learning curve for us all to look at in terms of, as you said, what is your motivation behind it? And it's something I've been thinking about a lot over the last week, because I've sort of almost been in battle mode on the vaccine side of things. You know, we've spoken off camera about various family members having the vaccine, and it's been a horrible, horrible journey. And like anything in life, a really steep learning curve. And at the end of the day, what we're all looking for is free will. And these people that I have known have made a decision out of free will, because I have given them the other side of the argument. So I feel that I've learned I need to step away and let them get on with that. But I'm wondering whether, you know, this character assassination, we can all ask ourselves on a daily basis, what are we spending our energy on? And, you know, for me, I've personally found it really difficult looking at all the recent stuff about the vaccines and the swab tests and how horrendous, because I know loads of loved ones that have had swab tests for the, you know, the ridiculous PCR test, and some that have had the vaccine. So now I want to sort of almost direct my energy in terms of, keep sharing the news on that so people can make an informed choice, but also what can we all do on an individual level to raise our vibration, ask whoever you believe in, whether it's angels, God, Mother Earth, whatever, for help and protection. Try and get out of the fear, because we're in that awkward stage now in the UK and the USA where a lot of people are in two camps about the direction they've chosen to go down to. Just take the vaccine for an example, or take what we started off with about the character assassinations. And what I'm hoping is we can sort of, on our side of the fence, stop spreading the fear. Because I trust every listener, they've got an off button. They don't have to watch.
Absolutely.
If it resonates with you and it helps support you at this time, then watch. If it doesn't resonate, you're picking up particular negative energies about a certain person, then don't watch, because it's not going to be in your best interest.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's perfectly said. Perfectly said, the off button. And you raised a very valid point just earlier about Bill Gates and how we are effectively, so there's a contradiction in itself with what I've just said, but let me explain that it is, I think, the people in the celebrity world or politicians that we have learned, which has started this movement about Save the Children, and we've learned that have done some awful things to humanity and crimes against our innocent beautiful children, and then that being the most lucrative business on our planet, that's conducive anger. And we have learned that these people are involved in this movement, in these crimes, so we must ask ourselves as well, because a friend said this to me, how do you know they've done this? You're going out there saying that, you know, you're implicating people for some really like crazy things. That's a part of this movement that we are all a part of, and we're all sort of fighting for, saying, hang on a minute, everything is connected to the children. And now it makes sense. So we've gone away and done our research, and we are led to believe that all, you know, roads lead to the, you know, those 13 families, the 13 bloodlines. And then you're piecing together how everything is interconnected, how our world has been operating and run. And therefore we've come to those conclusions about these people. And there is enough evidence just from our mainstream media of how they don't cover things, and then things come out thereafter. Like, let's take Jimmy Savile, Rolf Harris, and all these people when they die. So something there is connecting to these lies and these fabrications about the people that we've trusted. So those aside, but in this movement, with what you and I are doing, and within this truth or research movement, we're just ordinary people. And what you said was really significant there, is that putting people on a pedestal and then later on demising them, or putting someone on a pedestal and demising yourself against that person, or self-deprecating against that person, is not conducive. We need to synthesize those opposites, and we come to a state of an equitable balance, a neutralized state where we're just in non-judgment, but we are discerning and what's the word I'm looking for here? We are ushering our energy into something that's going to help us and raise our frequency, and then others around us. So if there's a difference between, you know, false flattery and placating, but empowering people and appreciating people is important. And like you said, we have the choice. We have that off button, you know. So it doesn't help us, because sometimes we get unnecessarily annoyed. Somebody said to me this morning, or I read in a comment, that so and so is making this much money and selling these stickers and doing this and doing that. So what? So exactly. What? So what? Like, literally,
we've got a real hang up about people making money, haven't we? And I think, you know, like everything, it's just reflection straight back at us. Why this jealousy? Why do we begrudge anyone abundance of any sort?
Yeah. And it's so what? Because energy, there has to be always a fair exchange of energy. And spiritually, we are all entitled to be abundant and exuberant and joyful and have material wealth, all of these pleasures. But, you know, there is blockages within our own soul journey where we are seeing these things as something to be negative. So it's perception, and it all boils back to perception and intention, Catherine. So what if somebody's making that money? So what? Like, if are they cheating people? Are they cheating people? They're selling something on their site. I'm recommending the good inside the zeolite. Does that make me a fraud? You know, I've got this opportunity where somebody, you know, we've got an agreement for selling this product for $5 for you to try. And guess what? You can unsubscribe and you've got a bottle for $5 and see how it is. So look, it's perception. So am I robbing people? Am I cheating people from doing that? I actually happen to really love it. You know, I've got fibromyalgia, and getting rid of these heavy metal toxins in my body is really important. I've got aluminium, mercury fillings. So I'm finding a real benefit, but it's that like second month and I'm feeling it now, right? Did I feel it in the first month? Not really. So I've had so many people approach me to sell stuff, and I haven't done it because it's just not in alignment with my energy. Okay, that's my choice. But anyone else who's doing something and selling something on their page or whatever, what is the big problem? Or where is the judgment? And this is the problem that we have in society, is the constant judging of people. And does it make you feel good? Like people trolling sometimes on my page. I mean, I don't pay attention to it, and I try to gracefully answer everyone from a place of, well, that person's attacked me. Do I respond in the same way? Does that make me then any different? If we want to tell people, we express ourselves from love. Love is not just like, oh, hello, coochie coo. Love is in action, and you can be assertive in love because your intention is pure for the betterment of that energy. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, every parent knows, whether you're a parent of a two-legged or four-legged, you know, we all need, or even a best friend to someone, tough love is really, really important. And I think, you know, everyone at this time, what I'm loving is we've got a whole new opportunity opening up for people, where to have the courage to start talking your truth, whatever that is. And that's different for every single individual. And of course, you'll find people that will resonate with you. And that's how the world goes round. You know, your vibe attracts your tribe. And I think what this is it's so hard for people, because everything we've seen and everything that's coming out about the cabal, about the control systems, about the corrupt education systems, about the corrupt pharmaceutical and banking systems, and how rife it is, really, people have had that confidence to go within and listen to their intuition and also to vocalize that taken away, because in modern age of social media, it's so easy to be trolled, to be ridiculed and everything. And we know that for years now, you know, certainly all the people a lot younger than I am that have grown up with social media, you know, tend to just present a certain image to the world. And the trouble is then you're caught in this issue of living a lie, which is really, really tough with people. Yeah. So I think that in terms of the fact that there's been this thing, my cat's having a good old scratch. So
it's okay.
You know, the fact that this culture has been so perverse throughout our society, plus the fact that most people are in a very high state of stress at the moment, because again, so many people have been, you know, lost their jobs. They're trying to, or the ones that haven't lost their jobs, holding down, trying to work from home whilst self-educating their children, whilst trying to do this, whilst trying to look after an elderly relative, etc. And I suppose all of us, you know, I learn every day from the animals I work with, from the talks I speak to. And what I love is, you know, when we have talks, for example, we give each other really honest feedback. And sometimes we do say things. I know there's been a lot of criticism of the sit back and eat the popcorn approach. And that's not something I go for, because I'm not that type of person. I still think I'm not looking for anyone to save me. I'm looking for strong leadership that I trust and admire and that I can support. But equally, I do believe that every single one of us has a responsibility to change the world we're living in.
Absolutely.
So I think, but equally, you know, when people are saying things like that, they're saying it from the best intentions. And for them, it's true, because they might have got to a stage in their life where they've reached such a level of peace because of what they've been through and the journeys and what they've learned from it, that it's genuinely true for them. So I don't begrudge them the fact that they can sit back and just watch it. Fantastic.
You said something about repercussions, and I think that's a very good word. Yeah. So let's take the sort of science behind that, the law of cause and effect, or karma. Yeah. What's going on our planet? Everything where we are in the here and now is karmic, right? Because as a consequence of certain actions that have been happening. Sorry, just 1 second. Kenzo. No.
Okay. I've got animals everywhere.
I don't know what he finds, and then when I'm doing a show, he's such a little sneaky little thing. Sorry, everyone. Where was I? Yes, the law of cause and effect. So everything that's happened on our planet, we're suffering for the last 10 months, 11 months, almost a year, let's say, because of this hokey-cokey circus that we're in with the lockdown. It's a year of really going within, trying to gain some introspection on what actually is going on, whichever side of the fence you sit on, wherever you sit. We're all in our own internal journeys, and we're perceiving things from the inner plane. What's been going on our planet, how we've treated Mother Earth for thousands of years, everything's energy, right? So the repercussions, is it an overnight fix? Even if, say, Trump comes in March and all the geopolitical stuff gets exposed and the corruption gets exposed, what's going to be required? There's going to be healing required. There's an energy, and there's going to be an awareness about all the things that happened. And this was the consequence of those things that were happening on our planet. So are we going to sit here and waiting for things to happen overnight? No, we are attaching to timelines, which wasn't conducive for us and, you know, our mental state. So, you know, what do we do? The frustrations that we have, we've chosen, our soul has chosen to be born at this time. We should feel joyful that we're experiencing this beautiful thing called life. Did I always get it right? No, never. Like I would be there were moments where before this journey, where I had a very much like an attitude of, why is this happening to me at a certain time in my life? I had to go internal and gain introspection as to where this certain block in a certain area of my life, and maybe one day I'll talk about it much more openly, but that's not really appropriate here for now. And I had to go internal and inside and say, okay, oh my God, these are where the blockages are. These are the ancestral patterns. This is where the energies are blocked. And I had to do a lot of things spiritually and take care of my spiritual hygiene and my mental hygiene. we take care of the 3D things, like, you know, what we eat and who we sort of hang around with, our exercise, our health, and all of this. But our spiritual hygiene is so important. So when we are understanding all the things that are going on in the planet, there's always cause and then there's effect. It's the balance. Does this make sense? Yeah. So we're always operating in duality. There's day, there's night, there's dark, there's light. But where do we want to be? It's this bipolar state that we find ourselves in, and that's judgment, right? We're always looking at things from a place of judgment, and where we are today. And I was just thinking about this so much earlier on. And, you know, like, as we both are evolving, we're finding out things. We have lovely conversations, Catherine, and we're just constantly wanting to be better for our soul growth. Like, we look at stuff, we allow this, we validate our feelings, we validate what we're feeling, we have a chat about it, but then we go back into, you know, what we need, what we're doing here on this journey. Sorry for this is a bit of a waffle, but this is really something that, you know, I found very difficult speaking on a public plane. You know, it's the shyness that sort of catches up on me, and it's like, oh, do I really want to say this on a, you know, on my Zoom chat? It's that authenticity of being aware of where your weaknesses are, where your strengths are, and moving forward with the best intentions.
Yeah, and I think, you know, whether we like it or not, what we're seeing in our world around us is a reflection of what's going on inside us. You know, we all know that, you know, when you're first in love and everything in your life starts going right, and that's because you're at a certain vibration.
Absolutely.
And yes, of course, people are in different circumstances and some do have it easier. But what you were saying about the reflection and the karma and how we treated the planet and all the animals on it, and I've been banging this drum for a long while, in terms of the fact, you know, we have really, most of us have experienced over the last year something we never thought we'd experience in our lifestyle: complete lack of a lot of our liberties being taken away from us. And there's many people in many parts of the world that have been experiencing that their whole lives. I've never experienced it myself in my life. I've been very lucky and very privileged to have not had that awful level of control over me. But it's like I always say, you know, it's what we do with our animals all the time. Even as those of us who've got a loving pet dog in the house, that dog is completely dependent on us for every decision. And I think people have had so long of this now. It's been an emotional roller coaster. Some aren't as lucky as we have to have great support networks around us and great tools in our toolbox, because we've been working on ourselves for so long. And certainly I'm such a work in progress, my goodness. But what we can do is sort of share that. And I think, you know, moving forward, I don't know how it went, the great reopening this weekend. I've not heard anything about it. Have you? But this personal responsibility and accountability, every single person who watches this can do something more to change the situation we're all seeing, because every little person's actions, as we know, makes a difference, however small.
And as Tracy Chapman says, we're talking about a revolution, and that's exactly and precisely where we are. We are all revolting in our own way, be it if it's minuscule, be if it's on a big level, be if it's on a Zoom level, what we're doing, whichever way it is. If we're moving towards that liberation for ourselves, to realize, as David Icke says, to stop acquiescing to the tyranny, to the tyranny that we have faced and we don't even realize we've done it. That's how subdued it's been. And we've been living in this warped sense of this democracy that we think that we have, and we haven't. So people are going to feel robbed and cheated, and there is that healing that's going to be required. But for now, in this moment in time where it's a war, if we just apply the principles of war, we can't just kind of flit in and out of it as we choose. It's a war. We're on the battlefield, albeit it's not the conventional war. It's a psychological war and war on our consciousness. And if we cannot see the spiritual realms here, this is where the trouble will begin, because we're going to be looking at everything from a 3D, third dimensional plane. And unfortunately, I can see a lot of car crashes happening here. And I'm seeing this around me, where I have these, pseudo-intellectual liberals who just are so arrogant and align with their titles and their books only, that they are finding it shocking about my behavior at the moment, thinking I'm mentally ill or I've got some sort of demented way of being and I've had all this abuse, but not focusing on that. But for me, when I look at them, and at some point I would get agitated, but afterwards I sort of take a back seat and think, they've been so programmed and conditioned. Is it their fault? Not really, but they have a choice now with the information. Yeah. And what do we do in those situations with those people? Unfortunately, for me, I've had to cut ties with that sort of energy, because it's not going to be conducive for me moving forward. And things are coming to an end. We've moved into the age of Aquarius yesterday. Yeah. Today, or the second today. Yeah. And it's officially, we've moved into this new energy on our planet. Actually, somebody told me off for calling our planet, saying that, I'm not awake by calling, this is the thing, calling Earth the planet. So whatever way, I'm sorry if I got that wrong.
No, I know. And does it really matter? Again, it's, this dropping this need, what you were just picking up there, for perfection. And the way I see it, because I've had to look really hard about how I communicate with people, because I see it as a personal failure. Initially, I did that. Certain family members, for example, have taken the vaccine. And then I just thought I just have to step away and just think everything's a learning curve. I think what many people are going through at the moment is literally a classic grief cycle. Yeah. And then when you go through the grief cycle, you've got all the different stages. You've got the lack of acceptance, you've got the anger, you've got the projection. And I think when I look at it like that and understand why people are, because we've been taught for so long to fight for our limitations, and whatever people think, whatever happens, we're never going back to what was our normal before. And quite frankly, thank goodness for that, for all sorts of reasons. However, people have got to sort of grieve letting go of their old way of life and, looking at what it is. And what I'm really hoping is that we can all start looking at creating the future we do want and putting a lot of energy into that, and sharing tools, techniques, and holding people's hand, because we all need that. We all have dips and troughs and days when we're absolutely on fire and nothing can knock us off, and other days when we're feeling very vulnerable and very different. And so I'm happy to see people expressing themselves. I'm hoping that each of us learn each day to express ourselves better and in a different way, but without any sort of failing of, giving away our power again, and without compromising our moral compass, because at the end of the day, that's so important.
100%. And Melke and I, you speak to Melke, you guys have a lovely connection as well. I love that, this like women coming together and empowering each other, not again through false flattery, but a sense of encouragement and empowering each other. And that's where I feel I'm on the right path. But I've just lost my train of thought there. What was I saying?
About Melke.
No, you were saying something before that. It'll come to me. Doesn't matter. But we're on this journey. We're finding our way. Yeah, sorry. This was what I wanted to say, is that some days we have good days. Some days we're not feeling great at all, and some days it's hard. The energies are really, really heavy, and especially if you're rising up, speaking about things publicly, like yourself and mine. Some days I can't even face the Zoom chats because the energy is also consuming. That means I'm not grounded enough. And I learned that very earlier on in this journey, the importance of grounding. So what did I do about that? I spoke to people that were good at teaching me grounding. I know nothing. And I always say, and I always have that disclaimer that I humble myself and say, I know nothing. I will be learning something till the very last breath I have on this planet, because life is progressive growth. But we have moments where like we realize the energies from the full moon, for example. I feel like there was a huge full moon hangover. There were things that happened to my mum, and I heard a lot of people had this pressure on their heart that day, and so did my mum. There was lots of batshit crazy things that are happening to other people that I knew, and I was trying to say, listen, keep it together, it's the full moon, you and your full moon and numbers and this, that, the other, and shut up, and I don't want to hear this right now. So when we don't realize we are interconnected to everything and everyone and every single being on this planet, we can start making headway to understanding what's going on, because we are sensitive to planetary alignments. We are sensitive to the energies of the moon. We are sensitive to other energies. And if we are not grounding ourselves regularly throughout the day, you know, we will find ourselves in this kind of real inconsistent vibration, myself included, when I was not aware. So when I reflect back to some moments where I've reacted to people, when I've reacted to people and I've not responded in a way that wasn't conducive to my vibrational alignments, then you can start seeing things. And it's through gaining that introspection about self is where we learn, because our ego is the greatest barrier for us to learn the truth. It disguises the truth. The ego disguises our truth in its entirety. We're wanting to embrace that liberation. Enlightenment in itself has this pseudo arrogance to it now as well. And what I mean by that is, like, we're all working towards enlightenment and we want to get there. Look, I'm not going to get there in this lifetime. I'm not Buddha. I can't sit under the tree and meditate all day. I want to live life and live every day and do things. And I can't see myself meditating. It's not just about that. It's understanding that how these tools help us in our life to actually keep our vibration balanced. And that's the key. It's balance. And when you learn from your own mistakes and you look at those mistakes with love, compassion, and wisdom, and you see the merit in those, learning those lessons, then we're moving forward. But if we go into a victim mentality, which we do as human beings naturally, because if someone does something to us, myself included, I'm generalizing here and I'm speaking generically, that we can kind of self-deprecate, we can go into that victim mentality and feel, you know, sorry for ourselves. That's lowering our vibrations. It's adding to the problem.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And it's adding to that problem. So let's take trolling, for example. Someone's trolling me and I'll just sit and moan about it to you all day. I'm looking at it. I'm aware of it. Am I going to let it eat me and deter me from doing these shows? No, I'm going to manage my own energy, and it's managing expectations to self as well. So this is where this happens, this imbalance. So we're all it's not so much about being in enlightenment, it's about having that balance in your life, about everything in your approach. And if you, it's what you said, which is key, striving for perfection, right? And when we kind of do that, yeah, we can be imperfectly perfect.
Absolutely. And I think all these things we're learning about, and all these challenges that are being thrown at people, you know, how to ground yourself, how to tune in with your intuition, breathing, how to breathe properly, because you can control your blood pressure, your stress rates, your heart rates, everything through breathing properly. But all of these tools are so valuable, because I think when we all start really tuning in with these aspects that we can all do innately, what's happened to get us to the state to where we are now just won't ever happen again, because the general collective intuition will be so high that we won't let these nefarious people get into such a position of power ever again. So the simplest tools that, you know, animals do completely naturally, you know, for me, I have, you know, I have a lot of rescue animals. So I'm always very aware of what my emotional state is and energetic state is before I interact with them. So I don't go and use them to calm me down. I make sure, because otherwise I'm just transferring all my rubbish onto them. You
taught me this, by the way. You said some stuff when you were helping me. Sorry to interject.
Yeah, no, do.
I really appreciate some of the things that you taught me on the journey with Kenzo that I take on board now, and they've been so valuable. And I think I'm always encouraging you to sort of put this in some kind of format where because people really received our conversation well that day. And what were you doing? Let's break that down. You were imparting on just your knowledge about dealing and experience with animals, and just imparting that knowledge with me from a place of what? Love and care, that intention. Yeah, there was no ego there. But again, that's my perception of seeing that. That's the gratitude that I'm employing towards for you in that has been helpful for me to realize that how my emotions are on a day-to-day basis really impact Kenzo. They'll impact our children. They'll impact people around us. And if you're an empath and you have a really big energy, which I do, I have a massive energy, and just know if I'm down, my mum will feel it, Kenzo will feel it. And that's it. That's the same for all of us, depending on where we are on our own, soul evolution. But so thank you for that. So these types of things are really helpful,
And I've learned all of my stuff the hard way. I mean, because, my animals really are my best teacher. And actually, I have started my book about all the lessons.
Yay.
So a classic example is one of my horses, Romeo, who lived wild off the New Forest. He's so expressive. I mean, my husband says sort of one of my dogs, one of my cats, one of my horses and myself were so funny. We're so similar. Now, my other two horses are very stoic, very understanding. They'll put up with almost anything. They've learned they've had to. That's their survival skill. Romeo, if I'm not in the right frame of mind, he won't come near me. It's hysterical. And if I'm leading him somewhere and I'm on the phone to someone else, he's like, you must be joking. That's so rude. And he'll do something to make me realize. And it's absolutely brilliant because, that's what we all do. We learn through our mistakes and then we do it differently next time. And then hopefully we pass on that sort of experience for other people so that if it resonates with them, it might save them a bit of time, because we don't all have to go the slow route. That's the beauty of learning, is that we all pass on these tools and techniques. I'm really enjoying the Wim Hof breathing stuff at the moment. I'm not doing too well with my cold showers. That's more of a struggle for me, but the breathing has completely transformed me.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
It's how we receive information. And this goes back to what we said right at the start. We have a choice of who we listen to and how we want to interpret that. So we can listen to someone, and if it doesn't resonate, then we just walk away and think, well, that wasn't for me in my own journey. And that's really the same for the spiritual leaders that we listen to, the academics that we listen to. We have that choice. It's like, well, I don't resonate with this, and this is not for me. So, but if it's actually helping you and raising your vibration and your energy, if we are in tune with our higher self, a higher self is always talking to us. You'll always get a feeling about something or a situation or a place or a person. And I get these intuitive, I call them downloads, and almost like red flags about situations, and they pre-warn me. And I'll be like, I wish I listened to my gut, but you can't really prove that to anyone. And then you just end up sounding like an I told you so, or I knew it, or I knew that person wasn't great or something. But we trust. That's a natural human instinct to trust. That why would somebody go out of their way to harm and hurt you? That's how I think. And I give everybody a chance, everyone. Why base something on somebody else's say so just because I haven't experienced it myself? So I need to find out myself. And people need to employ that attitude. I think I'm not telling people what to do, but just to sort of discern much more compassionately about what they're saying. Is it true? Is it harming someone? Is it harming your own self by saying things that are not necessarily great? Yes, we're having these rants about all these people in the political sense and all these celebrities that have harmed children.
But we have done our research, and that's the difference. It's not gossip.
Yeah,
it's based on hard facts that we have seen and continue to see, unfortunately. And it makes you feel so much better as a person. It really does. I mean, one of the books I read years ago by Louise Hay.
Yeah, I love her.
I can't remember which one it was there, but The Power of the Spoken Word. And I've got it on audio on my phone because it's the shortest, simplest book. And I must have listened to it 20 times. And every time I listen to it, I hear something different because I've evolved since the last time I did it. And certain messages that I didn't hear the first time, I'm now ready to hear now. And when you speak respectfully and kindly, but still maintaining your boundaries and your truth, you feel so much better, and you're really grounded with energy and power. And that's really, really contagious to people. So I think, every single thing we all do as individuals is going to make a difference. I'm hoping that you know, people have all made decisions during this crisis. And, you know, I'm hoping there's no blame there. There's no calling people sheeple. There's no people calling people idiots or whatever. Everyone has their reasons for what state they were in to make a decision at the time. And now, hopefully, moving forward, you know, hopefully over the next month, we're going to see some dramatic changes that can really put all these positive steps even more into action now.
And bring us together. And look, I'm guilty of that as well. When I went to Charlie Ward's show the very first time, I was this, like, you know, really shy person, but like really ready, raring to go. Oh, we can't call people sheeple, you know, they might be a bit sleepy. 10 months down the line, with all this information, I was getting to a point where, like, really, are you not waking up? And then I've come back to that sort of alignment. So I was out of alignment because I was getting frustrated, and I was getting abuse that week, and I was sharing some memes about sheep. I'm guilty. I don't want to sound like
we all are.
And I was like, oh my God, really, like having these fights with people. I wouldn't say fights, but they were so ready to sort of gun me down, because all my friends are watching my posts on Facebook and seeing the things that I post, and they just think I'm bonkers for thinking this inauguration was fake, and that, you know, Trump will come back. They just cannot comprehend it. And I'm trying to see it from their point of view, and I really do. But then I didn't deserve some of the obnoxious stuff, so I was heavy with the sheeple memes at that point, especially about the vaccine. And I wanted to speak about that because there is a point where you do get like, I say sorry to my friends, because a lot of people are saying, oh, our parents have got it, you know, and it's killing us and whatever. And I get that, because there's that fear factor of what if something happens to them. Fortunately, like after a lot of arguments and fallouts with my own parents, and I've literally forced it down them, and my mum's literally, like, she's got no escaping. She's actually saying, like, you know, I'm not going to put anything in my body that doesn't make sense and that hasn't been researched. And she said, I don't want it. And she was always very paranoid about vaccines from the start, and she didn't really understand why. But even with that now, you have to, you said something important on our conversation on the phone the other day, Catherine, that you've done your bit, you've done your action, you've done your dharma. Yeah, we call it dharma. You've done your duty, and then, but you're not in the steering wheel of that person's life. They have got absolutely and choice. So that has to kind of get neutralized. Like, I did what I did from a place of love. I can't control them.
No.
It hurts. I get it. I really get it. And people listening to this, I know it hurts so many people seeing their loved ones just acquiescing and, you know, just subordinating to the government and thinking that they care for them and all that sort of jazz. But come to a place of peace, knowing that you did your bit to the best of your ability in that moment in time to help that person, but they made the choice, and we all have free will.
Absolutely. And, you know, as a parent, I mean, you know, I've been through both my children learning to drive, and it's just absolutely terrifying when you sort of like that. But you have to let people live their own lives. That's what it's all about. We all grow up, we all experiment. Some of us get through it, some of us don't. And it's tough lessons for us all to learn. And it's like when you lose a loved one, no one can ever prepare you for that. But you get through it and you learn and you grow, and a lot of what you learn through that very painful process makes you a better person to be around and everything. So yeah, this is a huge, huge journey. And I think one of the things that upsets me more than anything is I see so many people that haven't got a support network around them. And, you know, I feel really, really blessed that I've got, you know, friends like you and the rest of our group and some other brilliant friends that are a brilliant, and my family support, well, some members of my family, a brilliant support network. And but you know, the others that haven't, that's what I'm hoping. People like us, you know, I don't know much about the political system. I've learned more in the last 10 months about politics than I've learned in the rest of my life. But what I can do is be there as an ear and a shoulder to sort of say, look, we understand what you're going through and you're not alone. and the future is seriously going to be so much better than we've ever could even imagine, because it wasn't in our comprehension before this happened.
100%. And I think the journey to that, it's the journey, it's not the destination,
Yeah.
as that may sound. And who we align with and what we feel are views, these are views or people's opinions. There has to be that sense of decorum and respect of people. And I think us doing these shows, having this synergy and this support, this empowerment is great. It's encouraging other people to go and find their own support. And, you know, I mean, I've tried to answer as many people as I can on my Facebook, although sometimes I just have to sort of say, no, I can't take that, all that energy, just to conserve and preserve my own, so that I can be strong when I am in it, there for the public, really, to do the best that I can. And again, I always sort of finish off by saying, I know nothing, but I know that my soul is in the right place to want to see the world a better place, and people in that unity consciousness together, and we're moving in that direction and working towards that. Will we see it in this lifetime? Of course, I think we will. That's the optimist in me, and I prefer to look at that. I prefer to see not rose tinted glasses or anything like that. I'm realistic about what we're facing at grassroots level. I get it. We've got a long way to go psychologically to deal with so many different people and their mindsets, but the onus is not only on us. We have to remember we're just playing our part in this journey. So the blame game has to stop, and just really look at what that person is doing, why they're doing it, and then appreciating it, and then neutralizing the charge that it has on you. And, you know, you listen to Catherine, you listen to Alpa. Okay, I've taken nuggets from what they've said, and it really resonated with me. Oh God, Alpa just is pile of shit and she waffles on too much and she's just doesn't get to the point, or, you know, whatever it is. Fair enough. Okay, fair enough. If that's what you think, that's fine. I'm not going to sit here getting worried about that, but you see how that resonates with you and in your energy. And we just move forward like that, gracefully and in unity. So every single time we speak, Catherine, I always feel great. And, you know,
so do I. And this is the most important thing. You know, I think we were both saying that to Mel as well. It's like, you know, find people that lift you up, find people that can guide you, find people that, you know, you resonate with, because that's what it's all about, is finding in these times what we can each do that makes us feel better in the moment, because that's the only thing that we control. And I love it. I love our chats. It's absolutely fantastic. You know,
I'm going to leave it so long next time though.
Yeah, absolutely, definitely. Well, let's have a lovely day, and I'm going to go out
and upwards
puppy dogs in a minute, and let's see what the next week brings.
Yep, onwards and upwards, darling.
Take care. Lots of love.
Bye.